Okay, greetings everyone. This is First Centurion 753 with a new game and a new series for my channel. This is Victoria 2. It is a 19th century global simulation of what the geopolitical atmosphere is like in the 19th century. This is something that I have been promoting on my channel for a while, that I'm going to start a new series. And I did a poll and to see what country subscribers wanted me to play as. And according to the poll, there are two scenarios that are pretty close. Unification of Italy, which was one scenario, and the Russian Empire, which is the other. And I think to start, I'm just going to go with the Russian Empire, just because it's probably going to be easier for me to do a playthrough, since it's my first playthrough for Victoria 2, although I've been playing for a couple months now. And if that is popular, I promise to do a Italian unification movement following that one. So, taking a look at the Russian Empire to start. If we take a look at the population here, you got about 15 million people in the Russian Empire. Mostly farmers, 53% farmers, 35% laborers. Laborers deal with things like mining and timber, for those of you who don't know the game. 7% artisans who are producing manufactured goods, 1.7% aristocrats, 1.4% soldiers, 1% clergymen, and then we have the rest. No capitalists or craftsmen. Craftsmen will be the ones who work in the factories eventually. We don't really have many factories, even though we have a large population. We are not very industrialized. Literacy rate is pretty low at 10%, so early on investments are going to be needed to manage education as well as administration, which efficiency is down to 14%. So just to start off with the budget here, the best way to go about doing budgets, maximizing budgets in this game in the early beginning is, from what I've read, is to maximize the tax rates to 100%. This isn't the effective tax rate. The effective tax rate, as you can see, there's actually 23%, but because of the inefficient administration and lack of technology, you're looking at 23%, so it actually isn't 100% taxation, so people will still be able to get their everyday needs, luxury needs, life needs, and so on, just at a tax rate of 23%. You do need to pay attention to that going forward. The other thing I wanted to adjust is the tariffs. We're going to increase those to about 5%. We don't want to do that too much, because that will hurt our trade. And I think I am going to go ahead and start by maxing out administration, just to get that maxed out. I'm going to leave education at 50%. I might actually drop it a little bit. Land units, we're going to drop that to about 40%. I do want to try to keep a profit going on, because there are going to be some initial moves that I plan on doing to help expand Russia, which will include some early wars. None of them will include the Navy, so that's going to drop down to a minimum of 30%, and that's about where I'm going to end up. Now I want to let this play out a little bit to get the actual budget. You kind of have to let it go a few days. The administration is an avant-garde intelligentsia, which gives us an advantage in cultural technology, 5% cultural technology boost. It does hurt us in industry tech and naval tech, but early on, since we have such a low literacy rate, one of the best things is to focus on cultural technology, because that will improve education efficiency. Although I'm going to begin with ideological thought, which gives me an additional national focus. And early on, our national focuses are going to be, we're going to go to the two largest provinces here, Kiev and Moscow. And in order to promote education, research, literacy, etc., we're going to go ahead and encourage clergymen in both of these provinces. That's how we're going to start that. If you notice, I think research is what gets helped by clergymen. Yeah, clergymen provide 1.51 research points right there to start. So that's going to start with ideological thought in an effort to increase the amount of clergymen. I believe the most efficient number is 2%. I think that does mention it somewhere. Kiev has none. And 1% in Moscow. Oh no, Kiev is 1%. What was I looking at? Capitalists? Craftsmen. Alright, so we have about 1% clergymen. Another national focus will allow us to promote clergymen in another province. Let's see. What else did I want to start off with? I think these are my initial moves. Politics. Movements. There are no movements. Decisions to be made. Restore academia. Restore to traditional academia, which will have no penalties on our research. I'm going to wait until I get through ideological positivism and probably idealism, because that gives us a nice 50% research bonus point. We'll see where we are at that point and where we need to go. So that's that. Again, big investments early on in education and administration to create more efficiency. And from what I've read, when it comes to industry and production, I shouldn't even bother worrying about this until 1860 when playing against Russia. At least that's what I've been told. Now, from a foreign policy standpoint, Manchuria is going to be our first focus. And we are a great power, so we can influence countries. We're going to influence Manchuria to try to pull them into our sphere of influence. If we do that, a decision gets to be made. I think the Peking Conference, which will give us Outer Mongolia, which will help. Another advantage out here, it's going to give us a land grab at our Mongolia province. You can check out provinces. Down here, grabbing that orange territory right there will be sliced off in the Peking Convention, but also we will share a border with Korea, which then will help us gain strong influence over Korea. And just taking a look at this right here, we do share a border with Manchuria, which says neighboring nation increases your influence by 50%. So that's a big bonus there. The other area is this island out here, Sakhalin. They have a life rating of 35, which means that is, I believe we are capable of colonizing them. The problem is, though, and actually I want to start the game here because I want to just get see what this budget ends up being. The problem, ooh, that dropped a lot. The problem is that Sevastopol is the closest port, and it's out of our naval range. And it looks like we are now gaining influence. Ooh, a Prussian alliance offer. Interesting. I want to give some breakdown of what my foreign policy strategy is before I dabble in these alliances. Now, as far as Sevastopol being too far away, I think the first step should be to build a naval base out here for $4,000, and that hopefully by 1839 will give us range to go ahead and colonize this island, and should put us ahead of everyone else. Japan is still uncivilized, so is China. The United States might be the only, or Britain, maybe the only ones in range, but they have other priorities, so colonizing this island here will be very valuable to Russia, particularly because this region, Pogobi, will eventually become, the oil will be found here later on in the game, so that gives you a strategic resource, additional strategic resource. Keeps it out of the hands of the Japanese too. There's also other islands here that we might move to colonize as well, and there's always a chance of just slicing off some piece of Japan there to just make sure they don't grow. Speaking of slicing off pieces, Prussia is another country, a threat right on our border. Interesting that they offered the alliance. I wanted the alliance with Austria, actually, because I wanted to. I do want to go to war. If the opportunity comes up, I want to go to war with Prussia and try to slice off some pieces of Prussian territory, or at least core Prussian territory, so they can't unite Germany, which happens in the late 1870s in European history. So the allies that I was preferring to look at would be France, for one. England and Austria would be good. France is not... We don't have great relations with France right now, so let's increase relations with them. Our diplomacy... Oh, what happened to our diplomacy there? Austria, they will accept an alliance. What about Britain? They will not. We'll go ahead and form the alliance with Austria. And if war breaks out between the Austrians and the Germans, then we will defend the Austrians. So just going to ignore those, and those will cancel each other out. In the meantime, let's increase relations with Britain. I'd like to have them as an ally as well. That makes us neutral with them. And that is our grand strategy. My military objectives are going to be south of the Caucasus here. The region of Prussia, which is the Tabriz region right here, I believe has oil later on the game. I don't remember. I thought it did. But grabbing that region will move us further into the Middle East, and eventually I think I want to try to push grabbing some Ottoman states as well as Persian states. Again, Persians and the Ottomans are probably going to be the least technologically, or I think they are the weakest of our rivals, or at least our border rivals. In Europe, you're going to have better technology. I'm going to look to influence Sweden. I'm going to wait till Manchuria becomes part of our sphere till we start influencing them. But I'm also thinking an alliance with Sweden, so a sphering alliance there. Potential wars against Prussia to prevent them from unifying. Alliance with Austria. Again, these European countries are going to be more technologically advanced, so that deals with our western border. In the east, we have large manpower regions of China, which are going to be difficult to conquer and maintain because you're going to have different ethnic groups controlling them. So that's why I'm opting, because you can see here there are nationalities, Ukrainians, where is that, in the Russian Empire? No. 48% Russia, 17% Ukrainian. If we conquer, the more Chinese territory we conquer, the more foreign populations that you're going to have to suppress, and you're going to have to deal with a lot of rebellions there. China in particular has a lot of rebellions in general, if you ever do a playthrough as China, which is interesting. But they do have the largest manpower. If you go to Ledger right here, I think total population, yeah, China's the most, then the United Kingdom, Guangxi, I think they say that, which is southern China. So they're going to unite at one point if they modernize, if they westernize. And then there's Russia. So it would be a lot to conquer and control all of it. We're going to try to grab some pieces of Manchuria, Sphere, Korea, maybe weaken Japan, colonize these islands here, maybe do a few other things. But our main target for actual military conquest, I think, is going to be here, going against the Persians and the Ottomans, because you're not going to have as much population, and you're not going to have as much as good research and technology as you would in the West, or maybe even the East too. And then gain access to the Indian Ocean could help us to expand maybe into East Africa, grab a foothold here for this for the scramble of Africa. And Madagascar, I guess we could probably influence them too, maybe. And then maybe even move into East Indies if possible. So that is the advance here. That's the idea here. We want to try to control Central Asia, move into India. China's going to be tough. We're going to have to manage our enemies and rivals in the East. So that's generally our strategy. Military. I can probably make some, since I'm going to be focusing there, I think it would be a good idea, focusing south of the Caucasus, I think it's going to be a good idea to start moving some of our troops down here. Let's move them into Azerbaijan, or this is where Azerbaijan is, 20 supply limit. That isn't going to be, we're going to have to move that army into that 30 supply zone right there. I can start playing again here. Let this go. We've got some cavalry units here. Alliance with Austria is accepted. Let's advance the cavalry. we're going to need some more armies here. And I'm going to split this army that's at the capital of St. Petersburg. Advance them down to there. Alright, so hopefully that'll be enough troops to deal with Persia. And we're going to let some time take off here. So let's look at some of these events. Prussia is discrediting the Ottomans. United Kingdom. Looks like Prussia is trying to gain influence over Germany there. Austria is also trying to influence Germany, forming alliances. That's going to be interesting. So war might break out. United Kingdom discrediting France. Austrians discrediting France. People are pretty busy. Now let's check out the money. I think we could probably cut some more of this land holding, because I do, like I said, I want a surplus. Cut land spending on military to 30%. That gives us the surplus we need. We are building the naval base still, and our troops are moving south. So we can speed things up a little bit at this point. Who's that? Sardinia Piedmont? I don't think so. That's not really in our range of influence. Let's see. Our top products are timber. If I can hold this for a second. Timber, fabrics, grain, glass, and cattle. Our top exports are timber, fabrics, and cattle, where our top imports are fruit, tea, and fish. So, again, we're not manufacturing anything here. Alliance offer from Egypt. That's interesting, because then we could get, we could end up getting entangled into some Middle Eastern conflicts, but I don't think I'm going to do that, actually. I'm pretty happy with my Prussians making alliance with another German state. More German states. Discrediting other great powers. Alright, right now there's a scramble for Germany, I guess you could call that. Let that continue. Trying to maintain a surplus here. And I know that I really shouldn't reduce education, because that just slows things down, but I am going to do it just to get a surplus going. Or a bigger surplus. Hoping for a bigger surplus. I'm going to knock that down to 40%. As you can see, we are growing in administrative efficiency right now. That alliance offer is disappearing. We are at 12,000 cash. And our troops are still moving closer to positioning outside of around the Caucasus. 26,000. Alright, hopefully they don't see this happening, I guess. We don't have a lot of troops in the east, just 9 brigades there, 9,000 troops there. There's 3,000 per brigade, I believe, right? Yes, 3,000 per brigade, infantry, artillery, and cavalry. Offer from Montenegro. I don't think so, Montenegro. You're on your own there, buddy. We're not getting involved there. That would involve us taking some naval actions, which well, maybe not. I mean, we could probably get access through Austrian Empire. A lot of these countries I don't want to align with. Now we have a sphere of influence action here, Manchuria. Is 71% ours. We're going to increase opinion here, which will make them cordial towards us. We have to get to friendly and then max out friendly at 100. Then we can bring them into our sphere of influence. Having control of sphere of influence means that all the goods that are available in that market will suddenly be available in your market in order to provide for your population, your government, your producers. And that would help provide you with what you need. High demand for those fabrics, and that's something we're exporting. That's good. We're manufacturing fabrics. Details here, artisans are the only thing producing fabrics. We have no factories. Fabrics are used to make regular clothes and clippers, clipper ships. Regular clothes factory, we don't have that. but we are exporting a lot of fabric. So, yeah, there's military goods, consumer goods, industrial goods, raw materials. Those of you who've seen the game before, you know what I'm talking about. This is a Paradox game, by the way. It's the same producer as who's that? The Persians? I don't think so. And in fact, I think I'm gonna start fabricating claims against Persia now. Probably should have done this. Oh, that's right. I have to lower the decrease the opinion of Persia so I can get them. I have to decrease the opinion to below 100, and that way I can justify war goals against them. I forgot. That was the one thing I forgot to do that I was supposed to do early on. Okay. It is June of 1836, and oh, are they still moving? I don't want 2 units here. Put 1 unit there. That costs me attrition. All right, who's this? I don't know who that is. I don't want both of them to go. Come on. Nah, I forgot. I definitely forgot about that. That was the one. I did like a playthrough 2 days ago just for some opening moves with Russia, just to give you just to have an idea of what my first steps were going to be. And so far so good. Who's this? Afghanistan? Nope, not gonna lie with them either. I'm taking a bunch of allies. Here we have Manchuria again. They are now going to be friendly with Russia. And pretty soon, the next step is to sphere them. And once you do that, I believe that does trigger the Peking Convention. Moving 27,000 troops a little bit closer to the Caucasus region. They now have 21,000 Persian troops here. We have to decrease opinion relations one more time. Now we should be able to justify war against them. Did I decrease opinion? I don't remember what happened there. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, time's ticking. We have some more diplomacy points. Justify war against them. Yes. Demand concessions. All right, we're going to go for that. Okay, now that would cost us infamy, I believe. Stockpile extra T. Reduce militancy. You don't want to reduce militancy early on because militancy does help push for reforms. Political reforms are very important in this game. You want to advance these things. It's not the easiest thing to do. There has to be momentum and influence for it. There has to be approval within the parliament, and but doing it does give you some nice advantages, such as immigrant attraction. It will a lot of it's immigrant attraction for a lot of these social reforms. There are some other good ones too, like education bonuses, population growth, education bonuses for school, population growth for healthcare. So you know you want to get that momentum going. Later on in the game, you're probably going to want to reduce militancy, but early on, you do not want to do that. So I'm going to stockpile extra T, because we don't have any capitalists, so it didn't really matter there. Alright, we found gold, life rating plus 50%. That's pretty good. Immigrant attraction, 300. I think that does give us extra income now. Yeah, we have the one gold mine. Bringing in extra influence. Okay, so this is my initial moves. I'm pretty satisfied with how things have played out. Next episode, we're probably going to go ahead and start a war against Persia. But you guys let me know what you think about my Russian strategy. Again, more powerful countries in the West we don't want to entangle with if we don't have to. But it wouldn't be bad to reduce, particularly Russia, which has the most potential in Central Europe. In the East, the countries also have potential. They're nowhere near as much of a threat as the Europeans early on. So I'm going to try to reduce the influence here by colonizing and expanding and sphering. And then military conquest is going to be focused here in Central Central Asia, particularly moving into the Middle East, possibly grabbing ports and naval facilities along the Persian Gulf, and then being able to influence Africa, Indian Ocean, and possibly, ooh, look at that. That's pretty sweet. Research report modifier is going to discriminatory school system. The Russians get discriminatory school system simulation efforts in Manchu, which is Manchurian areas, and territories are progressing slower than we should reasonably have. Then they should reasonably have to, and one of the reasons is Manchu children are still educated in their native tongue. By enforcing compliance to national curricula, we foster a new generation of children to identify more directly with the Russian Empire. We're going to go ahead and do this, enforce Russian curricula. Okay, and that's going to be about it for this episode. So I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you like the series. If you do, please like the video, comment down below. Like I said, we'll probably do a unifying Italy episode. Or not episode, series after this one, but I'm going to try to do what I can with Russia. The goal really is just to retain great power status. We are second great power. Our military is vast. We have good prestige, no industry, like I said. United Kingdom is the most powerful country in the game. France is not far behind. And the Prussians, if they unite Germany, they will be very powerful. And the Chinese will also move up into the great power if they westernize and unify their country. Japan is going to be a threat. The United States will remain a threat. Austria might be declining. Spain and the Ottoman Empire. Those three are probably declining great powers. I did do a series where I played as Spain and was able to keep them as a great power throughout the entire 100-year scenario. This goes until 1936. So if anyone wants to see that game, or if you have any ideas for any other series, please feel free to post them down below. Again, like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Hit the bell button. And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode.